Hello everyone, and welcome back for another Transformers review. As you can see, I'm doing a G1 style Transformer, but this is a reissue from 2004 of the second wave of the original G1 series Transformers Autobot skids, as it's clearly shown on the box. The original one came out in 1985, and to be quite honest with you, whether or not he was available in England, I know I never saw him, so when this came out in 2004 I snapped it up. It's a pretty much near perfect version of him, and I love the fact that they did the G1 style artwork. I think the picture is different from the original box art, but at least they stick to the old-fashioned type of squares on the box, that sort of graph type sort of detailing. I'll give you a quick sort of 360 of the box. So on the front, of course, you've got the fact it's the commemorative series, Autobot skids obviously, really nice G1 style artwork, and a little bit sort of RDW as well, so you know, really nice. Obviously in a pose you're never going to get him into, but of course that was G1 all over. Now going round, you've got basic sort of box art on the side, the same as the front. Now on the back you've got his bio, and quite a nice battle scene showing most of the classic sort of main characters from G1 having a bit of a scrap. I'll move the camera, I'll have to pick it up because these boxes are quite tall, and I'll see if I can hold it still enough. If you want to pause that, and then you'll be able to read up, rather than me going through reading all his bio, you might be able to just pause that right if it will focus and hold it still enough. But anyway, like I say, this is the reissue. Now, unlike some of the other reissues which have books, this doesn't, but it does still have the fold out front with some other pictures on it, and of course you get a clear window with the Autobot logo showing you the toy and everything what comes with him. Worth noting, of course, at this period they did Dirge, Rodimus Prime, Sideswipe, and of course there's a picture of Skids there himself. Now, I have all the others as original G1s, but like I say, this guy, I never did come across him in G1, so like I say, I snapped him up when he came out as a reissue. Now, I'll just get him out. Now the best way to get him out is actually to have it upside down as you pull it out on the tray. I'll just stand the box there to the back and actually put it down that way up, and then as you lift it up, the trays are sort of inset, so you can just take the box apart, again with a nice little Autobot logo, Transformers logo inside on the box. I'll put that down there out of the way. Now bringing the trays out this way is actually better because it's the actual inset part, which is the lower half, which is towards the clear window on the box, so you can take the other section off without everything falling everywhere. And I'll just put that down there as well out of the way. So what you end up with is the toy effectively upside down. Now I'll give you a quick look at the accessories, which are again have been reproduced properly, which they didn't do on some of the reissues, because they actually chromed the weapons, which is great, and to have lovely mint chrome weapons is fantastic. So you've got his twin blaster, I suppose you'd class it. Thing to note as well is, like the Insecticons, Skid's weapons clip on by actually sort of clamping around his forearm, so there's no peg and post sort of fists on this figure. Anyway, so that's his blaster, and he actually is quite well armed for a small Autobot. He's actually got 3 weapons, although you can only hold 2 at the same time, which is a little bizarre. And you've got another slightly larger blaster, and again that's sort of designed to grip onto his arm. Again, quite nice and quite nicely detailed. But I do love the fact that they chromed these. It's a little bit of a shame on some of the other reissues that they just did black representations of the old weapons. Of course, you've got his little rocket launcher with a little blue release bit on the top and a red piece where you put the missile in the front. Now this does not actually fire. Now whether the original one, like most of the other original G1s, did actually have a spring-loaded launcher, I'm thinking it probably did. I assume they've done this on health and safety grounds, which is a bit pathetic because I can never remember ever seeing anyone from my generation with an eye patch because of a launching missile from a Transformer toy, or any other toys for that part. But anyway, so yeah, you get a nice little launcher which again clamps onto his arm, and I haven't taken off the sprue. He's actually near mint, to be honest. It's only the fact I've opened him that he's actually not mint in box. So you've got his missiles, which obviously would go into the launcher, but seeing as they're not sprung loaded, I didn't really see much point in taking them off and fitting them in, because what's the point, you know? I mean, to display, he's quite nice to have displayed in the box, and seeing as these are never going to fire off anyway, there's not a lot of point taking them off the sprue. But anyway, so that's his missiles. A little bit like clubs, to be quite honest, but if he was going to go into doing juggling, he'd be well set up. Anyway, getting to the main figure. If we get that out, and I'll get rid of the clear plastic tray. I'll put his weapons to one side as well. Now, this is the basic toy, which is a little, I suppose, a small, almost like city car, almost like a miniature people carrier type vehicle. I'd imagine it's based on a Japanese car, because Skids was originally a Diaclone moulded Transformer. Even though he came out in Wave 2, it was still a Diaclone at this period. He does, for bizarrely, have an opening rear hatchback on the car, which is actually independently hinged from each other. I believe the original had a little Diaclone figure bicycle or something like that that fitted in the back. From memory, I'm sure I've seen that somewhere, and I believe the original was in red as well, though I have seen other like e-hobby colours as well, sort of green and red. But yeah, nice little sort of vehicle mode. You'll notice he isn't all stickered up with his Autobot logos. He does have his RUV sign fitted on from factory, but I haven't actually put his stickers on, which I might do. Still quite nice to have him sort of like just mint in the box, if you know what I mean. But yeah, he's a really good little representation of the G1. Still got the rubber tyres, which is again a nice touch that they still kept all that as original. But yeah, just a nice little vehicle mode. Now, to transform him as he is based on a G1, it is pretty much standard stuff. You fold down and back on the rear section of the car. You'll notice everything's sort of popped apart anyway as you do that. That folds down like so, and there's a clip, and I'll just show you it because I have thought it looks very sort of like weak. There's a very thin little bit of plastic, and that clip clips onto this red waist part and holds it in place. Now, I'd imagine if you've got an original, that's something to be very wary of, and even on this reissue, I'm a little bit careful about how I sort of clip it on, because it just snaps over the front there, like so. So it's one thing to keep an eye out for if you're ever buying one of these as an original or one of these second hand. Obviously that's going to really affect the transformation if that won't stay still. Anyway, getting back to his transformation, you then take the rear sections of the car and fold them down like so, which of course brings out his red feet. And then you take the rear wheels and fold them underneath, so they're out of the way, which is again is a nice touch, and actually on the G1 is pretty unheard of because usually they're always stuck on the side. And then to finish off the legs, all you've got to do is pull them apart slightly, just to give the impression that they're separate legs. They're just on the usual sort of sliding pin sort of joints. Posability wise, you're pretty much probably ahead of me in the fact that he hasn't got any in his legs. So he's pretty much along the lines of Prowl, G1 Jazz, and all those early other Autobot cars. As I say, you're never going to get the box art pose unless they bring out this guy in a classics line. Anyway, carrying on with his top half now, you need to swing out his arms, which are hidden away inside there. Now although they did release on their own as I moved the back section, they are actually pegged in place by these doors. There's a little peg on the inside of the door, if I can get that to show up there, just at the bottom in the middle, and that pegs into the arm to hold it all sort of together, but it's not held in really firmly, so it does come out quite simply. Now with the arms, all you've got to do is fold them straight round like so, and that's one position where you can have the arms. Now it's not technically correct according to the box, but it is how they show it in the instructions, so there's a little bit of sort of confusion there maybe, but I'll explain why I've got it in this mode to start with, but I will show you the other version as well. So again, you do the same on the other side and just swing his arm down. Now the doors obviously become like a lot of the G1 cars, almost like wings to the side, which I quite like. I do have a bit of a soft spot for the early Autobot cars with excuse me, with Jazz, Prowl, Silver Streak, where they've all got these sort of like doors sticking out to the side. It kind of gives them that sort of impression they could have sort of flown, but of course they never did. But anyway, the next part you've got to do is just fold down his roof section and windscreen to the back, so it sort of helps tidy up the back of the actual robot, makes it look a little bit like a backpack. And then to finally get his head out, you lift up the bonnet the wrong way, like so, and then his head just flips up and over into place on top of the bonnet, and then you just shut the bonnet back, and then just finally just position the head in place. Now his head sculpt is fantastic. I really do like the head sculpt on this. If only most of the other G1s had decent head sculpts like this, they would have looked so much better. I'm especially thinking of the Seekers, where there's just a little face on the end of the back end of the nose cone of a jet. If they'd have had a little independent head like that on show, they would have looked 10 times better. But it's G1, so again, you get what you're given really in those days. But yeah, a really lovely little head sculpt with a few paint apps, some silver on the top and yellow eyes. But yeah, really lovely little figure, and that's pretty much his basic transformation done. Now as you can see, his arms do look a bit weird in these positions, but in the instructions they do show that the weapons are clipped on like so. The bigger one fits on the side, as does the rocket launcher, but the double one fits on top. So to make it look correct, you've got to have them that way. Excuse me, excuse me again. And you do need it this way if you want the weapons to be pointing forwards, because on the box art they show his wheels up and to the back like so. So you'd have to bring his arms up and round and down, and they do sort of pivot round, so you can sort of bring it back round to the front, and you can turn his fists. If I take the gun back off, you can turn his fists so that they'd still be the right way round, but his arms are a little bit more restricted, but also the weapons are then held on differently. So the twin one is to the side. On the other arm, take the gun off for a second, and just turn that. But also point out that this joint up here does feel a little bit weak. Again, I'm being a little bit gingerly sort of careful with it, so as not to snap it. But anyway, got that round and turned the fist round so it's the right way up. And of course now the bigger gun fits on top. So it's a little bit personal choice. I kind of actually prefer this way, but like I say, the instructions do show the other way, so I thought I'd show you both. But yeah, really nice G1 style toy, well worth picking up. I can't even remember what I paid for him now when he came out, but yeah, definitely one worth picking up, whether it's the original or the reissue or one of the hobby versions. Size scale, I'll bring in, let's think, I've got, well, Prime Wheeljack is a perfect size comparison that most of you all know. So he's about the size, just a little bit under a deluxe from the modern lines. So not too bad size wise, considering he is a small vehicle. The actual robot mode is quite a nice scale size. And I should just show you, when you get this, of course, you get the modern type instruction sheets with his, you know, basic transformation details. And what I haven't put on, you get the nice G1 style stickers. Now, shall I put them on or not? I may well do, probably after this review actually, because I do love putting the stickers on these G1s, and it just brings back all those fond memories of sitting there for like half an hour after you've got the toy and just very carefully placing the stickers in exactly the right place. But yeah, really lovely. The other details, as you can see, are factory fitted, but I believe, are they stickers? Yeah, they are still stickers on this stage, not paint applications, which again is quite nice. Some of the oh, there goes his gun. Some of the finer details are paint apps, so like those small red lines and that. And you got to say, you know, pretty nicely detailed. The chrome is lovely, as I said before. Very G1. He could really do with a proper reissue in the classics line, I think. And obviously he's much better than the movie versions of Skids. So if you're going to pick up a Skids, get yourself a G1, much better. Anyway, I thought you might enjoy seeing a review rather than a haul vid. I won't be doing a haul vid this week because I won't be going to any boot fairs, so you'll have to make do with the odd review for the next couple of weeks. But anyway, hope you've enjoyed it, and it's definitely a figure I'd recommend picking up, so it's got a bit of a thumbs up from me. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again for another review.